Bienvenidos and welcome back to Puro Pinche Gol, the place we discuss all things USMNT y la selección mexicana. My name is Adrian. I'm joined once again by my co-host and Tocayo, Adrian. Adrian, what's good, man? How are you?
Hey man, how's it going? Sunday night, almost falling asleep with that match that we just witnessed. But hey, ready to take a break from the USMNT and talk about eltri.
Yeah, man. Not to say that El Tri's match against Costa Rica was any better. It was slightly better, but a little bit more entertaining. But at least that one ended in 90 minutes and
Yeah.
didn't have to go through to penalties. Also, a quick reminder before we get started here on today's video, we are having our 250 subscriber giveaway. We released a video last week regarding the details on how to enter that giveaway. So we will link that in the description below. But a quick summary here, make sure you visit that video. Make sure you're a subscriber. Comment in that video which jersey you would like if you were to win the giveaway, a Mexico jersey or USA jersey, and who is your favorite player, USA or Mexico, past or present. Make sure you comment on that specific video, and we will be releasing the name of the winner on the 17th after the Gold Cup final, our video post Gold Cup final video. So be sure to check that out. But yeah, man, let's get into it. El Tri played Costa Rica Saturday night, Gold Cups quarterfinals. El Tri ultimately coming through with a 2-0 victory. Relatively comfortable. I'd say the first 30 minutes of that match were a little scary for Mexico. Costa Rica looked dangerous, weren't clinical in the ball, weren't able to put in the back of the net. But Joel Campbell, Borges, a couple of their other players were really, trying that back line. The back line that ultimately for Mexico got Cesar Montes back. We'll get back into that. Ultimately, like we said, it was 2-0 Mexico. Orbelin Pineda scored in the 52nd minute with a penalty, and Eric Sanchez scored at the 87th minute to kind of round it all up. Yeah, man, what did you make of this game? Obviously, this is coming off the bat of a 1-0 embarrassing loss to Qatar. Did Mexico show improvements for you here on this match?
I mean, it's I want to say yes. Compared to here's the thing: is like with Qatar, I don't think Mexico had a poor display, right? I think it was just unfortunate that the one play that Qatar had, they scored. I don't think Mexico looked poorly against Qatar, but unfortunately, the score wasn't on their favor. So it isn't like there was a huge improvement from Qatar to yesterday. But I do want to say that they got the job done, right? I don't think there was, as I said, there's not a huge gap between what we saw against Qatar and what we saw against Costa Rica yesterday night, and yeah, so I think they did enough for them to move on to the next stage. It's good to see that Jimmylozano is settling on on a regular formation, which is 4-1-4-1. We saw him starting with 4-3-3 on the first few matches, and then it looks like he's moving into a all of the matches. He went from a 4-3-3 to a 4-1-4-1, which I think it's what the team is getting mostly comfortable with. But to answer your question briefly, it's a slight improvement.
The improvement being that instead of 24 shots and 0 going in, they had 14 shots and 2 went in. So, yeah, I mean,
yes.
better than 0, right? I mean, you got to improve in one area, and that was it. Speaking of shots going in, the people that aren't still not firing are the forwards, the strikers, Henry Martin, El Bebote, Santiago Jimenez. What's going on there, man? I mean, are they lacking creativity in the midfield? Are they not getting the passes that they need, the plays that they need? We saw Henry Martin play. I wouldn't say he played bad this past match. He did some decent hold-up play. There were just never any. I don't even remember one opportunity that he had on goal.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Because if you pay close attention to all of the matches, right? I don't think anyone from Martin or Bebote has had or have had a poor display, right? They have scored, they have given assists, they have given a pre-assist to the assist or pre-pass to the assist. You know that statistic. But it's very interesting because Mexico it's a side that relies heavily on crosses, right? Now we know that Henry Martin doesn't necessarily, it's not his specialty, the airplay. El Bebote Jimenez is good in headers, But it's very interesting to just realize that a specific fact is that you have Aurel Antuna on one side and Orbelin Pineda on the other. They're constantly throwing crosses into the box, and we rarely see a Mexican player finishing those crosses. So I am not sure if even Lozano is asking them to have more sacrifice in terms of retaining more of the ball, having being more of a cog in terms of allowing the wingers to have space by retaining the ball and pushing the defenders forward, or just bringing the ball closer to the middle so he can have some breaks. So I think it's a combination of them not getting the balls that they need in terms of that their positioning is slightly off whenever they get crosses, and at the same time maybe it's just Jimmy Lozano asking more from them physically rather than technically. So it isn't necessarily poor finishes or them not having the technical ability to score. I think it's just Jimmy Lozano asking them to be more of a team player rather than a sole striker.
Yeah, instead of finding all his goals through number nine, he'll find his goals through other means.
Yeah.
You brought up the crosses from Antuna and Pineda, or William Pineda.
Yeah.
You blanked on there for a second. One has been, I think, that we can agree, the best player for Mexico this Gold Cup in Orbelin, and one has had a couple really bad matches in Antuna.
Yeah.
I don't think that's changed this past match against Costa Rica. I think the
No.
Luis Romo Antuna side of the pitch was a lot weaker, a lot less creative, a lot less dangerous going forward than the Luis Chavez slash Orbelin side. Orbelin was probably the best player on the pitch for Mexico yesterday.
Yeah.
And he was, granted a penalty, goal for his name. What can we say about the center backs now that eltri has Cesar Montes back?
Well, I think all fans from eltri can sigh of relief on this one. Nothing against Israel Reyes, but there's a huge gap between him and Cesar Montes, and I think everyone's happy and enthused that Cesar Montes is back. I just really wish that he remains calm and collected in the heat of the moment against Jamaica on the upcoming match. We all know that Jamaica is going to be a tough opposition for Mexico, but we'll have a discussion later on a different episode. Um, but I just hope that he remains, as I said, cool on the heat of the moment, because I think this match proved that Cesar Montes is, arguably the best center back that Mexico has right now available to play. Nothing against Johan Vasquez. Johan Vasquez is definitely quick and has good reflexes and good positioning. But Cesar Montes proved to be the leader that the defense was missing on the first few matches. Um, Even back against Panama in Nations League, you can definitely see the big gap in technical ability and physical prowess when comparing Israel Reyes to Cesar Montes. So I'm glad that he's back. I think the defense looked better with him. There's a few kinks that they still need to work out. I also feel that Johan Vasquez has better chemistry with Cesar Montes just because they have been playing together for a while now. They know each other from Monterrey, even though they didn't play in Monterrey together that much. But when they were in the roster of Jimmy Lozano's team for the Olympic games, they were the two center backs that he relied heavily. So I think it just makes sense to have them, as the starting center backs, and just having Montes becoming that, that defense leader that El Tri needs desperately.
Yeah, for sure. I think they missed him definitely against Qatar, especially in that
Yeah.
Qatar goal, where we
Mhm.
see Mexico struggle on, with these speedy guys and these speedy contragolpes, counterattacks. Something that I know we talked about before this match, kind of in prep for this episode, how Memo Ochoa, he might be the Mexican keeper that's in the best form today, even though he's already, 37, 38. But
Mhm.
he struggles against those type of quick goals, right?
Yes.
Now having Cesar Montes back and here partnered up with Johan Vasquez. And I'd even go out to say Jorge Sanchez probably had his best game this Gold Cup against Los
That's a
Ticos.
surprise, dude.
Yeah, he played pretty good. I mean, decent, right? I mean,
Uh-huh.
he hadn't been playing. He hadn't had a good Gold Cup so far, I don't think, and he played pretty well. So having those three guys playing well going into this next match, I think can only help. Would you say the Lamborghini is moving on forward now? Got kind of said this Viola got kind of off track there for a little bit, but is it back on the right road now?
Yeah, I would say that after this match, they can definitely gain some confidence. They shouldn't feel, you know, essentially like they shouldn't be overconfident, right? It's nice that after that, match against Qatar and losing the way they did, of course, winning on a quarterfinals against the toughest opposition that you have seen on the Gold Cup so far. It's good news, and it's definitely a emotional booster for the team. They should be cautious moving forward. I think what is one thing that we can definitely say that Jimmy Lozano is moving forward with is continuing the I guess the offensive presence of Mexico. Right, it's no mystery that if you look at all the statistics from the group stage matches and then this last one, you can see that Mexico has a large number of shots made to the rivals goal, right? The biggest problem here is that the conversion of shots on target from every single shot it isn't necessarily high or up to the par that Mexico needs to keep on scoring goals. Like for example, if we look at this game against Costa Rica, it was 15 shots, right? And I think eight of them went to target. But if we look at the one against Qatar, I think it was 20 something shots and not even half of them went to target.
Right.
So that's one of the biggest challenges that Mexico has right now, and it isn't only the striker's fault. Um, to me, it's just a sign of there's too many crosses, and when things when pressure starts to build up, you can see the likes of Luis Chavez or William Pineda, Luis Romo trying to make a break from distance, and that's when you see these you see the players are getting desperate and they're just trying to shot as much as they can, right? If you look at Qatar, it's 25 shots and only 6 on target, dude. So that's a very low conversion rate if you
Yeah.
ask me.
One
um
third or one
exactly.
fourth. One fourth. What am I saying?
Mhm.
One third.
So
Yeah.
as much as you can, blab on all the statistics that you want, right? High number of crosses, high number of shots, good amount of possession throughout the match, large number of passes, right? And having a good pass accuracy, it doesn't mean anything if you're not targeting your shots to the goalie. So that's something that Mexico has to improve, and specifically in Lamborghini. So I know people want to say that Lamborghini was losing steam against Qatar or after the match against Qatar, and maybe they want to say he's picking up steam again. I think it's just remaining at the same level, and it needs some fine tuning, right? It needs some like oil in specific areas where it will help the team to have a better conversion rate in terms of offensive drives.
Yeah, and that all can also be, it's Jimmy Lozano's fourth game in charge of eltri.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
was literally just put into the fire starting for this
Uh-huh.
Gold Cup. He's still tweaking, like we said, going from
Hmm.
the El Coca's favorite 4-3-3 to now he's 4-1-4-1. He's trying to find his style, trying to find his formation that works for him. So, from going from 24 shots to and like 6 on target to 14 shots and half of them on target, I'd say, and against better opposition, Costa Rica is better than Qatar. I think we'd all agree on that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think it was a better performance than he had against Qatar, albeit slightly better. Um, Anything you want to add, man, before we kind of move on to our next topic here, the USMNT?
And the only one thing that I want to mention is I know that Memo Choice is a fan favorite, but I think there's no lie. And as you mentioned earlier, he continues to struggle with quick plays. I know that arguably right now he's the best keeper available for Mexico, but you can tell that the years are catching up with him. And I mean that goal against Qatar was a good showing of his decay in reflexes and positioning on the goal. And then there was I cannot remember the name of the Costa Rican player, but there was an early shot against Costa Rica where he really struggled to catch up to the shot and block it, and then stand up and try to do a
Oh,
second
yeah,
ball.
yeah. I
Yeah,
remember which one.
and those are the things that you cannot afford to have those mistakes and those rebounds against Jamaica. Jamaica is a fast paced team, and we'll dig deeper into that in the next episode, but I just want to mention that it's alarming to see Memo Ochoa struggling on those specific plays, and if he really wants to be the keeper for 2026, he needs to do something, man. I don't know if he needs to start taking lion's mane or doing some like neural rehab or whatever, but at this rate, I don't think he will be the best option, especially if you're competing against sides with young players and fast-paced offensive drives.
Yeah, I mean that goal against Qatar, we've seen that time and time and again in World Cups. Like in 2014, there was plenty of those when he was playing Brazil, and yeah, you could tell a difference in his reflexes there, which is sad kind of to say because he's still the number one keeper Mexico has. So I mean, if you don't Acevedo, all these other guys that you have that are younger that can't beat. Apparently, can't get into the starting lineup because Memo's there. I mean, what does that
Yeah,
say about those younger guys?
exactly.
Um, Maybe they just need to wait it out, wait for Memo to get older, I guess. But yeah, good point. We'll see how he fares against Jamaica, and we'll preview that episode before the Wednesday match. Mexico Jamaica will be playing 8 p.m., 7 p.m. Central Time. So yeah, we'll definitely be giving our preview for that one.
Yes, sir.
Adrian, man, let's get into another uh, snooze fest match here that we had this Sunday night. Got kind
Woo.
of interesting towards the end. Obviously, penalties are always interesting and fun to watch, but a lot more negatives in this match for the USA than previous matches. I think the honeymoon their vacation to the Caribbean has
Yeah,
ended.
yeah,
They're not playing these teams with "and" in the middle of their name anymore. So this was USA playing Canada. Canada, who before the World Cup or the Gold Cup, we kind of said was a favorite until we've seen them play. Man,
yeah.
this was such a dull match that I hoped would have ended in 90 minutes, but it just kept going, did not stop. I have a lot of points here we kind of discussed about before the match that I want to get
Hmm.
into. So let's start it up, man. I think the first one you and I were really adamant about was Jesus Ferreira.
Yeah,
This was his opportunity. This was his chance to prove it against a bigger team, right? After two back-to-back hat tricks, he was given the nod again as the leading the front line, and he wasn't able to, deliver. He was eventually moved to be the number 10 central role, and he had zero effect there as well. No creativity, no presence. What the guy has is speed. I'm always, pretty shocked at his speed. He's a really fast guy, but man, he was just not able to deliver anything today
yeah.
against a slightly better team.
Hmm.
Granted, he didn't get a lot of help, a lot of assists there. There was hardly any creativity from the U.S. team, but if he thought there was memes calling him the Pirate of the Caribbean before, man, that he can't do it outside of those Caribbean teams, that just got exponentially greater there.
This is proof. This is living proof that he's only a monster against the tiny islands, right?
Yeah, indeed, man. And moving on from Ferreira, it's another forward, the one that kind of took the number 9 spot when Ferreira moved to the number 10 spot.
Hmm.
Brandonvazquez, I thought he looked sharp in his 15 minutes of normal time when he came on. He obviously
Yeah.
got that good goal, great header, striker's
Hmm.
header, great assist by LeJuan Jones. Is it LeJuan or LeJuan? I don't know. LeJuan Jones. I always call him LeJuan. Um, but great assist there, and then Brandon Vasquez takes it perfectly. But then in the extra time, he just disappears, and he ultimately ends up sending his penalty to the moon. Um, I think these two forwards are just miles. It's just been like cemented in stone that they're just miles behind the other
Yeah.
starting number 8 team forwards. Don't you think?
No, I totally agree with you. I mean, as you were mentioning, Jesus Ferreira just disappeared after bjcallaghan moved into a more, I guess, central forward midfield kind of guy. And Brandon Vasquez, that goal, and that's pretty much it. I mean, there wasn't anything special about him on the extra time. Granted, he didn't have that much help from the wingers and whatnot, and you saw him fighting more physically with the center backs rather than having better positioning to find the spots. That penalty kick was just horrendous, man.
Yeah.
Horrendous. I don't know if he just fell prey of the pressure by he's a home, I guess, a home player because he plays for Cincinnati,
Right.
right? And I don't know if he succumbed against the pressure of being the I guess the home player. But oh my God, man, that was just a terrible penalty shot. And this has to be proof for the USMNT that they cannot have. I mean, there's no reason why they can. I still cannot understand why they can they just didn't call up a player that is in Europe, right? You have a good amount of players that are out there, and I don't think any of them would have said no just because this is like playtime, just like Matt Turner, where he
Right.
asked the USMNT, "Hey, I need playtime. Please let me play on the Gold Cup." I don't see why they couldn't have done the same with Haji Wright, with Jordan Pifok, who had a terrible second leg of the season with Union Berlin. He definitely could have used his time to reignite the flame. Josh Sargent, I don't know, man. I mean, there's a plethora of other names that you can definitely call up and use him as your starting striker. You know,
Yeah, or at least have them there just in case you need to call one of them up to
exactly.
play these bigger games. I agree. I mean, you're obviously not going to rely on Balaguer and Pepe for these types of tournaments every tournament or every match day that USA has, every friendly. It's just not feasible to call the A team all the time. But yeah,
Exactly.
there's a lot of strikers out there playing in Europe or not playing, like in PFOC or Haji's case, right? That kind of slowed down towards the end of the season. But yeah, like you said, I think we could agree that playing in Turkey or playing somewhere in Europe, even if you're not igniting the league on fire, it's probably better, higher level than playing in the MLS.
Yeah. Especially when
Yeah,
you know that MLS has terrible defenders.
yeah, true. Yeah, it is definitely a forward friendly league, striker
Mhm.
friendly league. Um, What can you tell me about? We talked about that before the tournament started. That one of the few players that was kind of a fringe A team player, more a bench on the A team, that we had high hopes for because he had come off a good season with clubamerica,
Yep.
Alex Endejas. What is going
Oof.
on with him, man?
Dude,
4 games now, 4 starts, and 4 very, very bad performances.
he looks lost, man. He looks completely lost, out of his game on every single match. Like, I'm not too sure what's going on. I am unaware if he feels. I'm totally confused. I don't know if he feels relegated to being a starter for the B team, and that's causing trouble for him, or he's not necessarily, or maybe he feels that he's on a different level, and the rest of the team is not necessarily supporting him in the way that he needs whenever he's playing, with the likes of Christian Pulisic, Sharonson, Anthony Robinson, right?
Yeah,
But I think that will be just a dumb excuse from him, right? They told him to stay because they have hopes of him being one of the drivers in the offensive for this team, but he just completely looks as if he's not even interested in making the slight impact on the team. I seriously doubt that he's not willing to, be a driver for this team. But I just feel that he's completely out of his depth.
yeah, he looks very defeated, deflated. He
Hmm.
every time he loses the ball, which is a lot, he you don't see him tracking back trying to win it back. He just looks like he's done, right? I don't know.
Yeah,
It's hard to see because we've seen glimpses of with the national team of what he can do, but we see it all the week in week out with ligamx with Club America that he's we know what he can do. He's a good player. Just he just cannot get it going during this
I,
tournament.
I wonder if he's regretting his decision to sign with the USMNT and realize that, oh damn, I have my competition here is tough. Like,
Yeah,
honestly, he's not the top three pick for winger, right? You have Christian Pulisic as the first one, and then you have the Aaron Sons.
yeah.
You also have Llorena who can play as a winger. I mean, you have Team Wea over there as
Hmm.
well. I mean, you have a lot of strong players on those positions, and he's definitely not going to be the first choice. So I'm just wondering if he's just kicking his head, saying like, oh damn. I mean, I should have just. He definitely has a better chance in Mexico than the USMNT.
For sure. Yeah, I mean, anything can be going through his mind right now,
I
man.
know.
He's playing really bad, and it's not to say he's the only one that we're going to pick on because this was a really poor performance from the
Oof.
USMNT
Yeah.
in general. I want to point out just the whole defense, man. From Miazga not closing down his
Oh,
man, not pressuring his man on that second Canada goal, just letting him run by through him, and get that. What a shot! What a great angle on that goal, right? But he should have never had that angle. To Miles Robinson's, what are you doing with that handball there, man? You're we saw him play really well in the Nations League,
hmm.
and we were saying, we sang his praises, saying him, Zimmerman are probably the two best players from the MLS, and I still think that might be the true. But wow, what a rookie mistake there. Um, Brian Reynolds, DeJuan Jones, just consistently giving the ball away,
Dude.
um, just not being creative there on the wings, and granted, DeJuan Jones came up with that clutch assist to Brandonvazquez. What a great ball! But other than that, it was pretty inconsistent and pretty poor performance from all the defense all around. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And the toughest pill to swallow is if you turn around and you look at the bench, you have Aaron Long. So it isn't like he's getting any better at it, right? To
Right.
me, it's like this is today is a good example of why Matt Miazga got dropped from the Qatar 2022
Mm-hmm.
World Cup roster, right?
Mm-hmm.
He is not on that level, man. He is definitely not even part of the top 20 center backs among the list of available center backs for the USMNT. The fact that he just looked at the Canadian player on that second goal, just foul him, man. Like
Yeah.
you have very few minutes left on the match. Doesn't really matter if you get a yellow card or a red card, right? By all means, go ahead and foul him. Don't let him freaking keep on going and score the brilliant goal he did.
Yeah.
So it's just a this is the whole reason why he got dropped from Europe. This is the whole reason why he didn't make it out there, and this is the reason why he's just gonna stay an MLS player. Pretty much it. Nothing against him. I'm pretty sure he's a great guy. He's probably an amazing dad if he's a dad, an amazing partner if he has a partner, right? But come on, Matt Miazga. Really, after this Gold Cup, if you can do the USMNT fan base a favor, along with Aaron Long, just
Yeah.
ask just ask the USMNT to just not call you up anymore, man. Please give the chance to another younger player who has better technical abilities than you. You are definitely better than me because you're a professional soccer player, but there's no excuse for that, man. At that
Yeah. I
level.
mean, he came on for Neil, who is probably going to be one guy that replaces him eventually. Neil's only 19 or 20,
Yeah.
young guy who's had a really good tournament so far. So yeah, I mean, I agree with you, man. I mean, a lot of these guys, it was proved today why this is the B or C team, whatever you want to call it. Probably the
This
C
is a
team.
team,
Yeah,
dude. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And the gap between the A team and this team is just massive.
Huge. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the one guy that saves himself and that, we kind of don't have to reiterate it because he is the only probably 18 player on this team, Matt Turner, who
Yeah.
once again has kind of proven himself to be the number one keeper for USA, undoubtedly, and a pretty damn good goal PK shot stopper, man. We saw it from him 2 years ago at the Nations League and the Gold
Mhm.
Cup, and now we saw it again. He's consistent. I mean, he got 4 shots on him. He blocked 2 of them
Mhm.
during this PK, and I guess that other PK that they scored on him during the regular time. But yeah, he just probably the only one that saves himself from criticism.
Yeah, big time. And it's very interesting to see. Well, I guess to me, it's very impressive to see his hand span, dude. His arm span is huge. That guy. I
Yeah,
mean, he's tall, right? But wow, he is a good PK. Sorry, a good goalie for PKs, definitely. Even if you go back to the first early matches of this Gold Cup, he blocked one of the a penalty shoot from Jamaica. So.
yeah. That ultimately led them to kind of
Mhm.
tie that matchup. Yeah, man. I mean, we could be here all night criticizing the USA's performance today. Those were kind of just the points that we wanted to highlight. Not a lot going forward today for the USMNT. Kate Cal came on for Sendejas, did better than Sendejas, but that's not to say he was playing amazing.
Yeah.
It just came down to who was the better keeper ultimately with PKs, Matt Turner, and oh man, somebody that we have to mention, Gressel.
Oof,
How do we
yeah.
forget
Oh,
Gressel? What a horrible match from Gressel this was. The corner kicks he was taking straight to the goalie, um, passes, crosses into the box, deflected off defenders or intercepted by defenders. He just could not get going today, and what a bad performance from him.
dude, I have no idea why he started, and I am not sure why he got called up for this Gold Cup. The only thing that I know about him is that he was well, he's born German, and
Yeah.
he asked for his FIFA swap like recently, and he got called
Hmm.
up. But I have no idea why, zero idea why. I don't understand bjcallaghan. I thought he was a master tactician, but not on this match. He's probably having a fluke, but Jesus, it was tough to see Julian Gressel
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
Poor
Probably
performance.
one of the worst performance players out
Yeah.
there on the field today for sure.
Hmm.
Um, Wrapping it up for USA, man. They play Panama on Wednesday as well, slightly before the Mexico game. They have a 4:30 Central Time kickoff. So that could be a game that gets complicated for USA if they play like they did against Canada today. Hopefully they wake up and play better, play some Callahan ball that we know that he can play. Hopefully it wasn't a fluke, but we'll definitely discuss that matchup with Panama in great detail for our preview episode later, or I guess early this week.
Hmm.
Um, Adrian, man, as we wrap this up, please remind our listeners where they can find us and remind them about our giveaway we're having.
Definitely. So, first of all, they can always find us on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the like button, and turn on the notifications. You can also find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast on. Last but not least, you can also find us on Twitter and Instagram at Puro Pinche Gol. We post stuff every now and then. Now, don't forget that we're doing our 250 subscriber giveaway, which is going to happen after the end of the Gold Cup. Make sure that you go to our giveaway video that we posted last week. You have to be a subscriber of the channel. You have to make a comment on that specific video telling us what jersey would you like, if it's a Mexico jersey or a USMNT jersey, and tell us who is your favorite player from that specific team. So we're going to be posting more reminders on Instagram, and we'll remind them on every single episode that we release between now and the end of the Gold Cup. But don't forget, you got to be a subscriber and you got to make a comment on the giveaway video.
Perfect. Yeah, man. Make sure to go check out that video. We'll link in the description below, and we'll link it at the end of this video as a clickable thumbnail. Adrian, man, another great. I was gonna say great episode. Wasn't that great of a game to watch this weekend?
Yeah.
Both games, but both teams move on, so that's good. At least we're still on track to getting that Mexico USA final that we want to see. But that weren't great games to watch, but great to be here with you again. And I'll see you in the next one, brother.
Take it easy, my friend.
See you, man.
Deuce.